Perspective is the way that we perceive something, and not only on the paper, but how we see the world and how it transforms our beliefs. So welcome to episode 10. My name is Jennifer Russell from Building Wings Studio, and today we're talking about perspective, along with an art journaling tutorial. Wherever you're at right now, I want you to take a second and look around. What can you see from your vantage point? What things are closest to you? Does that make their size bigger? What's in behind that? What's in the middle ground? And what's in the background? What things are hidden from you? Which things can you not see? So take a minute and take a look around. What do you notice? What colors? What shapes? Now, what if you change positions? What if you move somewhere else? Or even if you just imagine you move somewhere else, what do you think you could see from that perspective? What if you were a bird, having a bird's eye view? What would that look like from the top down? What does it look like when you lay on the forest floor and look up at the trees? What changes? So perspective in art can give us depth and a sense of where we're at in the world. It has height, depth, and width. It's a way to take something that's three-dimensional and put it onto a two-dimensional surface. But on another level, perspective is our point of view. And our point of view and where we stand on things shapes our reality. One thing that we are in control of is our perspective. How we choose to see things in a positive or negative light. How we choose to interact with things and interpret things is all part of our point of view and our perspective. So in today's creative exercises, I have a couple things that I want you to play with. And I'm going to turn to the table now and we're going to check some of those out. I want you to pick an item in your house. It doesn't have to be something you hold, but it can be. Mine is a teacup. And we're going to try just sketching it loosely at different vantage points and see what changes, what things we notice. Could be the way the light hits it, could be the way an image is stretched across the side, could be how the handle is hidden or smaller in the back, and what shapes we see, how the circle changes as it moves. So let's take a look at perspective from that angle. I'm just going to play with it here on the blank page. So right now I'm looking at it top down, a bird's eye view of this cup. I see that the rim is a circle. I can see the highlights in the middle. And I can see the handle right here. Somewhat like this. I can see the gold rim right along here. For line work, that's about it. The rest of it would be more shading. Now let's see, if I turn the cup like this, the circle changes. It's more like an oval. I can see a bit of the lip of the teacup comes down like this. See the bottom like this. One of the ways we get to know things is by drawing it. It makes us take a closer look at something. If I turn it a bit more, My circle becomes more oval shape, like a pancake. The lip still comes down like this, but I'm seeing a bit more of it. I see a little more connection here, a little more shape down at the bottom. I'm not seeing so much of this anymore. Looking at the angle that the actual handle comes in, I'm noticing that now, and how it connects to the teacup. And I can play with a little bit of line work here to show some shadow. If I lay it all the way down, I don't even see the circle anymore, I just see the top, which is kind of scalloped. And I can see that it's mostly straight across. My brain was telling me that it was going like this, but it's not, it's going straight across. Sometimes our brain tries to tell us what we see, tries to make other connection because it knows the shapes. I can see that that's not as curved. You can see this part comes out a little slower. Looking at the curve along the bottom now, is slight curve. And I can see the gold around that bottom. I'm going to put a little bit of line work here to show shadow underneath. And I'm just going to play with loosely with the design here. I'm looking at it and I'm seeing that it appears that the top of the handle is higher than the glass. Still comes out, it's almost like an ear. And I can still see where it connects. I can turn it even more. Now if you're using something that you can't move with your hands, you could stand and go to a new angle. And this one's a little different. I see now that the lip of the cup is more like this. My drawings seem to be getting bigger as I go down. See, I can see that now where this connects has like it's doing the same as the top. And it's actually coming in behind it a bit, just the way that it's angled. Then I have the connection piece. Same thing here, the curves are all going the same way. And now down here is like a pancake. The handle seems almost level now at this angle. Comes down, and I can see it connects and curls out underneath where that glass curves. I can see more of the thickness of the handle. I see that this line comes out about where the handle connects at the top, and it's roughly going to be following that same curve. Same for the one on the bottom. Shadow wise, it's kind of here, and then I see the gold lip here, and I'm going to put some more shadow work under here just because it's the darkest. Otherwise it just looks like an extension on the cup. And if you're playing with colors, you can go along and add some more shadow in, but just to get the basic shape of things. And sometimes I need to take my pen and hold it to see how the lip actually curves this way and not this way, which is my go-to. So that's sort of a fun exercise just to play with your technique and see things in a different way. But let's jump into some intentional creativity. So let's jump into some intentional creativity. I want us to think of our perspective as our point of view in the world, our beliefs, and how those can evolve. Our beliefs can change. We can always reassess them and evaluate and check in with our values and just see what's serving us and not serving us anymore for our habits and beliefs. And when we think about perspective, let's think it has height, depth, and width. So those three things. On the page you could also have your foreground, your midground, and your background. So let's pick one of those as our dimensions and attach something to it. So maybe, and we could tweak these, and the outcome of what we would get as our deeper meaning would completely change. So let's say that our foreground could be our needs, our desires, the things that are most important to us right now. Let's take into account those things. Our midground could be things that we're experiencing in the present, where we're currently at. And maybe our background is our future goals or our long-term goals. So this is a journaling prompt, a journal exploration, and I don't want us to take it too seriously. So I'm using a Crayola marker, and it's just going to be playful. It doesn't have to be perfect or a masterwork of art. Let's give ourselves permission right now for it not to be perfect. I'm going to start, let's see, my background's going to be back here, so I'm going to draw a horizon line. And maybe in my background where my goals live, I'm going to put some mountains. Okay, maybe have a few lines here for the ground, and maybe something that always pops up for me is a fox. So I'm going to add just a little shadow of a fox here. Just a symbol. He's going for a walk. Okay, and then for our foreground, I'm going to put some leaves here. Not thinking about it too much, maybe just even just trying to do it with one line, just different kinds. Maybe some flowers, like maybe here's a thistle. Or my intention is for it to be a thistle. some smaller things down here. Some more leaves. Maybe back here we have, let's see. I think I'll make it a nighttime sky. There's our fox. Maybe some trees here. Not sure what they'll mean yet. Just putting in what my muse is asking for. Maybe he's kind of coming out of a forest. Maybe I'll put a bigger branch here in the foreground. It doesn't really look like a tree branch, though. We'll see how that turns out. There, I think I'll leave the rest of that open. Okay, here is just a plate for some watercolors. Now I'm just going to block in some color. I'm going to start with my night sky. Add a bit of glow here. I think it's fun to work with the Crayola markers sometimes as your line work because it blends in with the water. It's water soluble. And I might even put some purple up in the sky here. For the mountains, I'm just going to play with some blue. Thinking about what these 3 long-term goals might be, since I put 3 mountains. Yours could be completely different. Maybe each mountain represents a different area of your life. I think for mine, I'm going to take my notepad here because my paint's still wet, and I'm going to go goals. 1, 2, 3, long term. I want to think about my I'm going to do health/physical. Maybe my creative practice or business. Those are 2 different things for me though. Let's see. And my third one, let's see, growth. What areas do I want to grow in? take some red now, come into the foreground, and I'm going to add it to the fox. I know he's more of a shadow, but just want to play with that a little bit. Maybe add some black to his paws. And I'm going to take some greens, maybe mix it with that blue. Put it in the trees. I think I'm going to let these branches just become shadows. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to the green now. I want that to be darker back there because it's farther away from me. I'm going to add some of the night sky color to that green. Usually when we add darker colors, that pushes something farther away from us. Brighter colors will bring them closer. Add just a little more to the mountains here. Using the same green but building on it to make it a little lighter as it comes closer. Maybe add a little yellow, see? There we go. So my intention was that there was a forest here that this fox has come out of. So maybe the fox has come out of the shadows. Remember, this is representing our present. And now he's got this open field. Lots of possibilities. Quite a distance to get to the goals, but definitely has open paths if it so chooses. Playing with some of the greens that were made in these leaves here. Letting some mix together. And the foreground was the needs for now. So what I'm thinking these will be are the actions to take to make my way through here. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to come back and do some journaling about the things that came up. So my 3 goals, where I'm at now, coming out of the forest, what opportunities lay ahead, and what actions I can take to get myself through here to reach the goals. All right, everything is dry now, and while it dried, I took some time to write notes for my 3 areas, or to journal about them and what they meant. So now I'm going to play with some gel pens. These are the moon rolls, or moon jelly rolls. You could also use crayons or markers. And I'm going to come into I'm going to start back here with the mountains. And I'm just playfully redefining the lines, letting them be sort of messy. And then I'm going to write, my 3 mountains are going to be, I think I might try using a white one. See if it shows up. Not so much. Not so much. All right. Well, I'll do it in blue, since the mountains are sort of blue. So I've got my health. And the blue one doesn't want to work either. Let's try this one. Health. Physical. Feel good. And I'm just going to write a little more about that goal. So I wrote health, physical, feel good in my body. I believe this is also an emotional connection as well as physical. And let's see, the second focus was my creative practice. I might just write, this one goes this way. I'm going to get this one to go straight across. I'm going to write creative practice. And this is important to me because it is the way I express myself. It is the way I process what happens around me. Now you notice that it's not very legible, and I'm not writing in order. If I run out of space, I move somewhere else. It's just more of a way to get the idea and energy out. My creative practice is important to me for my spirit. It is enjoyment. It makes me feel good. And then the third mountain was for growth, and I'm going to make it go this way. Growth and learning. In what ways do I want to grow? One area that I want to focus on right now is learning how to create digitally. I've played around with it, but the tools, I find it very difficult. It's important to me. Growth is important to me because I love to learn. I'm just going to use that purple again and make those pop out a little more. Maybe even come around the moon a little bit. Then I'm going to come down into my foreground here. I'm going to outline my fox a little bit. He's kind of blurry now that we've painted him. If I can get one of these whites to work, I'm going to put some white in his tail, or her tail. A little bit on the cheeks maybe. And come in here to this line. Fix up the trees a little bit. Now these trees to me come from my Celtic Reiki experience, and where they grow so tall and strong, they are the seers. So to me they represent being able to see the way forward, being clear. And they're together, so maybe these are like a message to seek help on your journey. You don't have to do it alone. I might define a little more of the branches with this color too. I like how it's popping against the purple. Maybe I'll use it back here. Maybe put some lines on some of the leaves here. And the message for here, where the fox was coming out of the woods, was get ready to take action to cover the distance. I might add some of this down here too to these leaves. Just playing around. Play with the purple here and these foreground flowers. And these were going to be the actions that we take. I'm going to do some of the outlines again. And let's see, I've got this pink color. I'm going to add some pink to the top here if I can get it to work. pink flowers down here, or berries. And then the foreground was to represent actions that we could take. So I think using the blue again, I might sneak in some of these actions just along the leaves. So one was to create 3+ times per week. We want to make our actions doable. We don't want to make them so big that they become a chore. So I think for me, creating 3 times a week, even if it's journaling like this, then that would be fine. It doesn't have to be to complete a masterpiece, just to sit down and play. So create 3+ times a week. Take a look for digital class. I've kind of got one in mind already. Take class on digital creating. And let's see, this one for health would be to at least get out for a walk, or a yoga stretch, if I can't fit in something more. But to be gentle with myself. There. Gonna add some blue. Just playing around now that I've got it all in there, asking if anything else wants to be added. I don't think so. I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode and the tutorial. I hope that it helps you to step back and check on your own perspectives and your points of view, and maybe gave you a different tool as to how you can evolve your perspective or your point of view using 3 dimensions. Like you could have, instead of height, depth, and length, you could go through and do past, present, future, and explore perspectives that way, and how your beliefs change and evolve. So it could be any recipe. So I'd love to know what you're working on, and maybe the recipe that you chose to explore your points of view and perspective. And you can post those in the comments on this channel or in my blog. And until next time, be inspired.